There has been so much information on the news about this comet, Three-Eye Atlas, and it feels like they're trying way too hard to force us to focus on this narrative that makes it more alien. And it just made me want to remind everyone of the words that Werner von Braun spoke to Dr. Carol Rosin before he died. There's been so much released in the media over the past couple of years even about UAPs and recent government footage that was released. And this was an incident that happened last year in October of 2024. It was off the coast of Yemen, and it's just now being released.
Admiral Gallaudet, Lou Elizondo, and Mr. Gold, and the many others that have come forward. We hear you. And it's time that we, enough is enough. It's time that we take action. Look, I'm not jumped to the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet. But I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
And just a little information on Werner von Braun, in case people don't know their history too well. Werner von Braun secretly moved to the United States along with about 1,600 other German scientists, engineers, and technicians that were all part of the Nazi Party. They came to the U.S. as part of Operation Paperclip, which was a secret post-World War II program. The U.S. wanted a strategic advantage against the Soviet Union at the time. The U.S. government downplayed their involvement in the Nazi regime and potential war crimes to facilitate their immigration and employment. Many people don't remember this, but Werner von Braun collaborated with Walt Disney in the 1950s on a series of television films about space exploration. This included Man in Space, Man on the Moon, and Mars and Beyond. I believe you can still look these up on Disney Plus if you still have that streaming service and watch those. Everything that he mentioned to Carol Rosin has basically come true. This isn't some kind of a prophecy, someone saying they can see the future. This was a straight up plan of things that what I would call the deep state wanted to do over the next few decades. And all of them, in my opinion, have come completely true. And the last one that has yet to come true, that is right in the order of things occurring, would be the fake alien invasion. If you've been paying attention to the media within the last year or so, they've been bombarding us with all sorts of news articles about asteroids coming close to the Earth, might possibly be hitting the Earth, trying to scare people. And this was one of the points that Werner von Braun said would happen right before the last card, which would be the fake alien invasion. It just gives me the feeling that they're attempting to plant this seed in people's minds to prepare them for a fake invasion. They could use Project Bluebeam and put a bunch of holograms in the sky to make it look like an invasion, while also using some of the reverse engineered craft If you're into this topic of UAPs, you're well aware of what Project Bluebeam is. Whistleblowers have been discussing this for years. Everyone thought it was crazy, but let me remind you that people also thought it was crazy. 10, 15 years ago, whistleblowers were coming forward discussing a worldwide pandemic. People were going to be forced to be vaccinated or have it under the guise of being vaccinated by free will in order to save others. And look what's happened. Carol Rosin was told by Werner von Braun on his deathbed, the strategy was first that the Russians are going to be considered the enemy. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. And the funniest one of all, she said, was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. He said we're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it is a lie.
I was a corporate manager of Fairchild Industries in 1974 through 77. I met the late Dr. Werner von Braun in early 74. At that time, von Braun was dying of cancer, but he assured me that he would live a few more years in order to tell me about the game that was being played, that game being the effort to weaponize space, to control the Earth from space and space itself. Von Braun's purpose in life during the last years of his life, his dying years, was to educate the public and decision makers about why space-based weapons are a dumb, dangerous, destabilizing, too costly, unnecessary, unworkable, undesirable idea. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in 74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it, he said, is a lie. He didn't mention a timeline, but he said that it was going to be speeding up faster than anybody could possibly imagine, that the effort to put weapons in space was not only based on a lie, but would accelerate past the point of people even understanding it until it was already up there and too late.
I just think it's time that people stop ignoring someone's claims because they sound too far-fetched. I think it's unwise to ignore a possible threat until you can prove it to be untrue. So I believe it would be wise for everyone to keep this information in your pocket, share it with others. That way, in case something happens, not to spread fear in people, but to just be educated and to do your own research, to use your critical thinking skills, think outside the box, think about possibilities. Don't take everything at face value. Don't believe every single thing that you see on the news or on the internet. I think a very important thing to do, and this could help you in any aspect of your life. When you see something on the news or on the internet, if something happens in your life, try to not react with your emotions. Try to not react emotionally. Don't react out of fear. Take a moment if you can, step back, look at the situation, try to think rationally, try to think logically. And to me, I like to learn multiple outcomes or possibilities I think it's better to have a handful of knowledge that you can pick from during a situation. And if some of the things end up not being true or not needed, you can just toss them out. But at least that way you'll have multiple things to go over in your mind when you're seeing something in the media. Is this true? Do I need to research this for a second? Am I reacting emotionally? Because to me, logically, when I look outside of everything, why would a government want to report in the media about a threat, an unknown threat from outer space, and act as though they have no idea what it is and that they're completely unprepared for it? What kind of an emotional reaction do you think that would cause the public to have? Obviously, that would be one of fear. And to me, many governments around the world, especially places like China, don't present things to the media or make them well known unless it's something that they can benefit from. So I love you guys. And I just want you to be safe and be prepared as best as you can. And to me, that means having as much knowledge as you can. The more knowledge you have about a situation, the less fear that you have. And that is for any situation you can come across in your life. Stay safe, follow your intuition. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.